If you're a rock singer that's been practicing vocal exercises and a vocal routine religiously, relentlessly, desperately, hoping that at some point it makes you sing better when you sing actual rock songs, but it is not helping you sing actual rock songs any better, no matter how much effort, energy, time, money you throw at the problem, and how much, how many vocal exercises you do when you've got a page long of vocal exercises, this video is for you. Now, this was a loop that I got stuck on when I was learning how to sing. Every singer that I met, every new vocal teacher I went to, I was immediately, what exercises are you doing? What sound did you make to fix this or make this sound or hit that crazy range? You got 2 octaves of range above me, and I've been doing this for, 10 years at the time. Where I was really frustrated, and I was really straight to the exercises. Like, I need to do more exercises. It was like 2 pages long of exercises at that point, right? And it just wasn't making me sing any better. In fact, I think I was really declining in whatever I'd worked out over the years. The more I stacked onto it, the worse I became. And I was really spending more time doing vocal exercises and a vocal routine than I was actually singing, which is, the death knell for your ability as a singer. You need to sing songs. You need to get out there. You need to do it, right? You can't just be in a room doing a vocal routine and expect one day you'll sing better. If you want to sing better, you actually have to sing better actively. This is a proactive thing you have to do. So there's obviously something very important you're meant to be learning from vocal exercises that you're meant to be applying in your singing. This is a missing link for a lot of singers. I think they're doing these sounds, they're doing trills, they're doing ma, 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 but then that's not really how they're singing. I think this was a big reason why I had so much trouble actually improving with my singing. Even though I was taking vocal lessons, I was working with great vocal teachers, I was taking their advice, right? I was singing one way in the lessons, and I was singing one way when I warmed up and tried to develop my voice and did the routine, but then I'd sing completely differently live because I didn't know how to apply it and connect it to what I was learning. So it was almost like I wasn't singing the same way that I was learning how to sing, if that makes sense, right? It can be pretty vague exactly what you're meant to be working towards with vocal exercises. You tell me right now, what's the point of ma, 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 right? Most of you are going to say something about mixed voice, but why and how, right? If I was to go back 25 years and give myself, advice on my very first day in a vocal lesson in 1997 or 98 or whenever that was, it would be that your pitch, the note you are singing, and your vowel are actually the same thing, or at least they're derived from the same thing. They are forever intrinsically linked, and they have to be. Everything is derived from the vibration of your vocal folds. The speed that they vibrate at is your pitch, and then a derivative of that is your vowel, right? Or the frequencies of that become your vowel, the frequencies of the vowel, right? So if you're unable to sing a note, you don't need to stretch your range. I get a lot of people reaching out to me saying, how did you stretch your range? That's not really how it works. It's not necessarily a muscular or physical issue that you're experiencing in most cases. You really have a vowel issue. The frequency of the vowel that you're desperate to sing and trying to push out doesn't exist at the pitch that you're trying to sing it at, right? So you're always flat. Or maybe you put precedence of the pitch over the vowel, and then you go to falsetto, or you basically, your vocal folds do whatever they have to do to get to that pitch at the detriment of the frequencies that are that vowel you're asking for. You've probably experienced this already. I'm sure there's been a vocal line you've worked on before, and you've hit some of the words on the G4 or whatever it is, the F4, the G4. But then there's other words that are at that pitch or even lower than that pitch, and you can't fucking sing them, right? That's because the frequencies aren't matching your pitch, right? So whatever issue you're having, it's most likely related to your vowel or related to your pitch, right? These are the two main issues that you're experiencing. And I know you're thinking, man, I need compression, man, I need mixed voice, I need twang, I need all of those things. Yes, they're all important aspects of being a good singer. However, the fundamental issue that you're experiencing is that your vowel and your pitch aren't really gelling together in the way that they're supposed to. This is not an opinion, it's not a technique, it's not a style. This is the fundamental workings of your voice. This is how frequencies work within your voice. This is how your voice functions, right? You're going to see comments from people saying, like, oh, Freddie Mercury didn't modify his vowels, or, Dio didn't modify his vowels. But again, this isn't a style or an opinion. This is a fundamental. If they're hitting that pitch with that word, the vowel matches the pitch. That's all vowel modification is at the end of the day, right? So if I'm singing something, right, and I can't, say I can't hit a pitch, right? The D4 was a bitch for me when I was first learning how to sing. Then it became the E4, then the F4 was just impossible. Kind of became a G4, and that was really the point that I got stuck at for a very long time after taking singing lessons for such a long time, right? So if I'm singing a song, you wore me out like an old winter coat, trying to be safe from the cold. Right, the ease that you hear me singing that probably doesn't match what you expect to come out of my voice. If you're hearing me speaking, right, the ease that you hear in that comes from me matching the vowel to the pitch, right? So even that first line there, right? If I'm singing the word war, like you wore me out, right? And I try and sing that like the word war, right? Especially with an Aussie accent, right? You war. I have to put, and you see I'm bodily pushing that pitch up, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that feeling and that sound, right? It doesn't sound very good. That was quite uncomfortable, and there's no way forward with that sound, right? Now, if I look at what vowel that's supposed to be, and I look at a variant of that vowel, there's a couple of different ways you can do it, and I sing that a little bit more like like wah, like there's not really a word, but like a UH sound, like the word truck or muck or stuck, right? You wah. When I say that to you right now, you're like, that's going to sound terrible. That's not going to work, right? But when I sing it, you wore me out, you wore, right? It comes out as the word war, and it's that even balance between my pitch and my vowel, right? This is why you can't sing high notes or mixed voice or middle notes, right? So when you're doing vocal exercises, say you're doing the ma thing, right? That's supposed to help you magically somehow sing in mixed voice, right? And you go, ma ha ha, right? That's how I used to do it. And I'm like, man, I'm stretching my voice here. I need to do this as much as I can to stretch up to that pitch, just one semitone, 1/1,000,000th of a semitone every single day, and I'll get there. And I never got there, right? Again, if we're aware that our pitch and our vowel are ultimately the same thing, or they're derived from the same frequency, they're forever linked, intrinsically linked, and we change our vowel, we go ma. Think about, again, a couple of different ways you can do it. Let's go for like muck or truck instead of right? Ma, 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 right? I get my mixed voice, and all I've done is really slightly shift the space in the vowel so I receive a different frequency, right? This is the advice I would give myself if I was a beginner singer all over again, and this is the thing that I didn't understand for such a long time, and it's the thing that really, really broke open the doors, broke open the gates for me. Didn't immediately make me a good singer. However, I had something to work towards, and I had a fundamental understanding of why I'd struggled so long. I was just making the sounds people were giving me. I wasn't actively trying to do this. And then when you sing songs, you have to actively do this. This is how you actually sing better when you sing songs. Doing that exercise isn't going to just make you do it naturally better, right? Say we're singing something higher, right? Say we're singing like a Boston song, right? And we want to do the same thing. And I'm having trouble with this high range, right? And we... we're just done our mixed voice exercises. We're kind of pushing up to the A or the B or something like that. And we're singing, it's more than a feeling when I hear that old song they used to play. You can probably hear I'm not singing the word play, right? Used to play. I mean, that brings out the depth in my voice, right? And I can't hit the pitch, and my voice is way too low to ever sing a Boston song, right? That's because I'm not singing an A sound, right? I need to change the frequencies. For me, this is a crossover point. It's kind of an eh, kind of an I. It's like a narrowed eh, not a full, New Yorker eh. It's a little bit of a narrowed version of that for me. It could be something different for you, right? When I hear that old song they used to play. Right now, my pitch and my vowel match up together, and it rings really, really well. How about the word that at the top? There's actually two different ways you can do this, right? Same thing. If I just sing the word that, I mean, I can't even do this an octave down, right? When I hear that. It's a nightmare hearing my old voice come out when I sing in that way. That's how I used to sing. What a nightmare. It's still there. I'm not a lucky singer that this shit just works for. If I do it wrong, it doesn't work, right? So if I look at that vowel, right, and I kind of think of my to an sound, right? Think about a word like, with an Aussie accent, I'd go for a word like dirt, right? I'm not actually singing a front vowel. I'm just really narrowing the hell out of that in the back. If your voice is a bit higher than mine, you can just go for like truck or stuck or fuck if you really want. Whatever it is, whatever word works for you. You can make this really funny if you like. Pick some funny words, right? When I go for that, It's not that, it's that, right? When I hear that old song they used to play, right? When I hear that old song, right? You could do this as a front vowel. So you could go for an A. I see that, there's a bunch of vowel modification charts out there that treat A as a front vowel. It's basically like, A, E, which it's not. In a classical setting, that would be a no-no. However, this is me giving you permission to sing this sound. The amount of singers that come to me and they're like, oh no, that's a no-no. Like, why? I use that sound all the time. It's a very edgy sound. It's a very punchy sound. It's great for rock. It's great for pop. It's great for a lot of words that don't fit, your standard vowel choices. So when we do it, we're going to go that, like cat or hat or that. And we're going to treat it as a. Or you can go for that, which is more like a Kiwi in my, if I'm thinking of accents similar to mine, right? That. You're going to sing this as either or that, right? Which is really Kiwi, really New Zealander, right? When I hear that old song. I don't think that works, but that's a pretty common way of doing it, right? When I hear that old song they used to play. And it's the same thing as play, right? Play. You can hear the changes in the frequencies most likely, but it doesn't really sound like I'm modifying my vowel. I'm not going this kind of thing that you're gonna see some people doing that, and they're not actually modifying their vowels. They're ham-fisting the whole thing. They're basically changing their vowel sound and fighting their voice. This is about the absolute opposite. Especially as a rock singer, you need to have freedom and ease in your singing so that you can sing things with grit and gravel, and you can push into things, and you can have different styles and that kind of stuff, right? Now, if things were hard for me to sing, right? You are her. There's no way in hell I'm going to be able to add any grit or power or anything to this, right? You wore me out like an old winter coat. If I go for the word safe, right? A, trying to be safe. Again, that's my old voice. That's what used to happen to me. Trying to be safe. And then I've got all this freedom and effort, and it's super easy to sing. So then it's easy for me to kind of dig into things and go for different styles and different choices, right? Your vowel and your pitch are intrinsically linked. They're derived from ultimately the same fundamental vibration of the vocal folds. If you're unable to sing a pitch, unable to sing a high note, you're unable to sing in mixed voice, no matter how many exercises you do, look at your vowels. Look at how you sing in your vowel sounds, right? Your first question for me is like, you just threw a bunch of vowel sounds at me and told me to sing and it and how the hell am I supposed to learn this and actually enjoy singing, right? This is common knowledge. You can go and download a vowel modification chart from Google if you want. Go and look it up. There's going to be a million of them, right? You should know this. Everyone should know this. Everyone should be teaching this. This should be the absolute most basic fundamental thing that a voice teacher teaches you, because it's the fundamental of how the voice works. Again, it's not an opinion. It's not a style. It's not a choice. This is how your voice works. This is how frequencies in your voice works. Right? If you're convinced that you just can't sing high because you've got a low voice or you've got a certain accent, your vowels suck. That's the reality of it. That's why you're pushing stuff. That's why your voice splits and cracks. You need to work on your vowel sounds and those frequencies. The pitch has to match your vowel. They have to be some sort of derivative of each other, right? I've been calling this door number 3 in the last couple of videos, basically looking at singing from a completely different perspective. I don't think I've ever really heard anyone say that, your pitch and your vowel is the same way, in this type of way, right? There is different ways to look at singing. I've had to look at singing from a different perspective, because the conventional way of just, hey, do your ma-ma-mas and your lip trills and push down, that didn't make me a good singer. What are you supposed to do when you've invested all this money and time and effort and energy and everything into you singing and years and years and years of practice, or months and months of practice, however long you've been doing this, right? You've been watching YouTube videos on repeat, just video after video after video, right? In this loop, right? Where are you supposed to go from here? It's really door number 3, where you look at singing from a completely different perspective, and you really look at the fundamentals of how the voice works, rather than filtering things through, classical terms for things, open throat, lagola aperta, inhalare la voce, inhale your voice, appoggio, support, all this kind of stuff. This is the convention. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that your disposition as a person looks at singing from that perspective. And that was definitely me as a singer, right? I'd like to help you walk through door number 3. If you're serious about working with me, you're ready to work towards becoming a professional singer, and you're serious about working with me, there's a link down below where you can reach out and get in touch and let me know what's going on. I'm going to ask you some questions though. Very serious questions. Why are you putting yourself through this? This is a question that I was asked somewhere along the way and I couldn't answer it. I'd been so stuck on that loop of just doing vocal exercises and sounds and going to different teachers, and that I'd lost sight of why I started singing in the first place. Right. And it took me a little bit of time to really work out, well, actually, I'd love to do this, but I was so convinced I wasn't able to do it. You know, I mean, you've heard, you've heard what my voice does when I don't follow this path in my singing. I cannot sing the way that you're probably used to hearing me sing, or that you've seen me sing in this video as well, right? I just can't do it, right? So a lot of my goals had been stunted because I really thought I couldn't do this, and I'd even had people tell me I couldn't do this, right? Put all that out of your mind, knowing that there is a door number 3, and tell me why you're doing this. What would you like to be doing? By when? Putting a full stop at the end of this stops it from being open-ended. I think this is so important in vocal training. How many of you have been just taking weekly singing lessons for years, right? Or, you know, every 2 weeks for years. That's because you've set an open-ended goal. Put a full stop on it. You know, in 3 months' time, I want to be singing this, right? And finally, what's going on? Don't tell me you've got a problem with mixed voice. Don't tell me you've got a problem with support. You know, that's for me to decide. Tell me what's actually going on. You know, when I sing, you know, more than a feeling, you know, when I sing feeling, I'm flat. I can't, you know, or my voice splits or whatever it is. You know, when I sing Call Me a Dog, when I sing a Chris Cornell line, you know, this happens. I can't hit the range. I'm just not connecting. It's basically falsetto from this point up like it used to be for me, right? That's the actual issue at hand. Why are you doing it? What's your time frame? Put a full stop on the end of it. Tell me what's actually going on. Most importantly, hit the subscribe button, because we need to keep challenging the vocal paradigm. We need to keep challenging these conventions in singing that work for, you know, a lot of people, but don't work for people like you and me that just don't look at singing in the same way. Right? Your vowel and your pitch are the same thing. Get in touch with me down below if you're serious, if you're ready to work with me. There's a subscribe button right here so we can keep challenging the vocal paradigm. We'll talk soon.